please turn to page 23 of your Suzuki Method Book 1. The exercises on this page that are going to be the most relevant are going to be the exercises on the A string. We're going to leave the exercises that are on the E string for another time. The exercises on the A string use almost the whole half-whole pattern. They actually use a whole half pattern, and here's the reason. We're going to use only the first, second, and third fingers. There is no fourth finger in this exercise. So as a result, remember in the last lesson we talked about whole, half, whole? That means whole, half, whole. Well, we don't need the fourth finger, so this is only going to be a whole half exercise. And what we're doing is we're actually going to incorporate the whole half pattern with the everybody down up bowing pattern that we learned in the last section. So we're also still going to have those two rests, you know, the sh, sh, z, and in those rests you're going to be preparing the next finger that you're going to be playing. So let's talk about form and posture. Please put your violin up. Now you can do this with your bow on your stand if it's too much to think about at once, or you can get your bow hold ready first and then put your violin up. It depends on your own comfort level, but either way you'll need your bow eventually as well. So it's up to you what order you want to do this. Now I'd like you to slide your hand, your left hand, back to the top of the neck. That top meaning the part closest to the scroll. You don't want it up here. You want everything down here. And, you know, nothing forced, just kind of hanging out there. And make sure that your thumb and your index finger are across from each other when you put your index finger down on the A string. Can you just try that a few times? Let's just practice doing that. Just tap it a few times to make sure the finger is across from the thumb. So that's going to set you up for playing correctly when you start this exercise. Now the next thing I'd like you to do is keep in mind the fact that your wrist should never, ever, ever go like that. It's a very common error at the beginning. And often, one of the major reasons for this is because we don't have the right shoulder rest or chin rest set up. And unfortunately, I can't help you with that right now because this is beyond the scope of videos. So you'll have to go to the shop where you bought the violin if you feel that this could be a problem. You know, let's say you can't get your violin on comfortably on your collarbone without moving around and doing all kinds of funny things. But in the meantime, let's see what we can do. So keep your wrist natural, and what we're going to do is we're going to play everybody down, up, shh, shh. Now on that second shh, I put down my finger, my first finger. Then we're going to do the same thing putting on the second finger. Everybody down, up, shh, shh. Remember, whole step. Then we're going to do the same thing putting on the third finger. Everybody down, up, shh, shh. Remember, it's a half step. Then we're going to pick up the fingers one by one, starting with the third finger, which is already down. Everybody down, up, shh, shh. Now only the second finger and first finger is down. Now we're going to pick up the second finger. Everybody down, up, shh, shh. Now we're going to pick up the first finger. Now remember, always pick up or put down fingers in that second shh. Everybody down, up, shh, shh. So that's how the exercise goes in principle. Now we're going to play it together, and I'm going to teach you a little trick in a minute after we've done this exercise. Let's do it first, in the middle of the bow. Now we're going to do it backwards, starting on the same finger. Up. 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 Now, it's actually asking us to repeat the exercise as well. And we will repeat it. But now, here's the next thing I want to do before we repeat, is teach you something called opening the hand. Some people have problems reaching the third finger in the right place. They just can't get that third finger to play in tune, and the note is perpetually played too low. That name of the note is D, which matches the D string if I play them together. Now, one D is higher than the other, but they're still both Ds. Now, the reason why many people can't get the finger in the right place is because the angle of the finger isn't right. And the only way to get the angle right is to do something called opening the hand. So when you put your third finger down, you might need to lift up your first and second fingers. So not everyone has to do this. If you have long fingers, consider yourself lucky. But I have to do that most of the time. So let's do the exercise one more time, and we're going to open our hands on the third finger, if you have to. Down. 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 And I open. And again, backwards. Down. Down. Up. Good. Now, actually, you'll notice something, that I used the words down and up this time when I was picking my fingers up. The dynamics have changed of how our fingers work. Because when your hand is open and you're coming down the scale from... And if your hand is open, you're going to be... Yes, you will be picking up your third finger, but you're also putting down your second finger. Now I'm putting down my first finger. Now there are no more fingers to put down, so that's why I said up when I picked up my first finger. So that's the way this works. So that is part 2 of your introductory Twinkle exercises.